Not really. I think Colin Cowherd has it right when he says 3 things in life you don't want to go cheap on. He says toilet paper, very apropos for the times, transportation, and quarterbacks. And I think people look at Jameis as not only the cheap option, but the unreliable option in that regard. And here's the other thing, Wildes, that is really working against Jameis. Who are the teams that need a quarterback? There's only one team in the league we know needs a quarterback, Miami, but they think they're probably drafting one. The Chargers, we believe, need a quarterback, but they seem to like Tyrod. The Jags, I believe, need a quarterback, but they've got Jenna's BFF, Gardner Minshew. The Broncos assuredly need a quarterback, but John Elway's there, so he probably loves Drew Lock. So what is the market if he wants to be a starting quarterback? There's not a lot of teams right now, Wildes, that actually think they need one.
I totally agree. I want to read a Bruce Arians quote. I've got 2 Bruce Arians quotes. I want to read this one verbatim. This is from the Tampa Bay Times. Bruce Arians describes Jameis's tenure with the Bucs. There's so much good and so much outright terrible. So I think that's your former coach talking. And then when Arians was on with Rich Eisen the other day, there was a little piece of unintentional comedy where he was saying how great of a guy Jameis is. He works so hard, et cetera, et cetera. He says he reached out to some teams. And Rich is like, you did? I know you probably won't tell me what teams. He's like, what was the reaction? And Bruce Arians says, one team was not interested, and one team said, thanks for calling. So, that's it. I don't think the market's that big, and I don't think Bruce Arians is doing a great job selling his guy that he's just a fantastic fit for your team.
Hey, Greg, let me ask you something. It seems like Jameis is as good as he is bad, and that's the problem. When you get excited about his upside, you're brought back down to reality because of his downside. He's kind of like, in my Seinfeld knowledge, he's kind of like Even Steven, but that's not good enough to be a starting quarterback on any of the teams when there aren't that many slots to begin with. Am I right?
Yeah, but I'm shocked that no one has taken a chance on Jameis Winston, because typically when you have a guy who is very talented and who can provide you such a great upside, kind of high risk, high reward, you tend to get coaches that feel like, I can be the coach that fixed that. And so if I'm looking at coaches that could potentially fix it, who have situations, because I don't believe that Jameis Winston, obviously, as Nick put it, is going to go into a situation where he's going to be the outright starter. He's going to have to earn a spot. You can look at a team like the Dallas Cowboys, who have a Mike McCarthy who understands how to work with guys and kind of get them to understand defenses to better suit their ability to be accurate and to have more better decision-making processes when having the ball in their hands. Now, I don't think that'll happen, but he has to go to a guy that can bring that out of him. And a lot of people thought that was going to be Bruce Arians, and it wasn't. And I think that's what's really becoming a turnoff for a lot of these NFL teams, the fact that Bruce Arians could not do anything positive with Jameis Winston.
If not Bruce, then who, Nick?
Well, first of all, Greg's point about the Cowboys, I think, is a really interesting one, not only because of the McCarthy angle, but it would be a little, Cold War against Dak. Like, oh, you don't want to sign this $115 million deal. Yeah, former 4th-round pick. Well, how about we bring in a former number 1 overall pick to back you up? Does that maybe get Dak back to the negotiating table? But the team that I think makes sense, has a need, is used to a quarterback maybe not being in the best of shape and throwing a bunch of picks. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? What about sitting behind Ben for a year and then maybe not for a full year if Ben's elbow is not fully recovered? You've got that great defense, Jenna. You have that excellent head coach, Mike Tomlin. You've never had a losing season. They need a backup quarterback because it's not the Duck and it's not Mason Rudolph. So to me, the Pittsburgh as a backup, maybe one-day heir apparent, Jenna, for Jameis makes a lot of sense.
I like it.
How about the fact that Jameis and Cam, both former number 1 overall picks, both still available as quarterbacks in free agency this coming season? Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.